Halo, dzień dobry, beautiful candidates for LCPs. From this side, we have our beautiful ICX. I'm Brittany, I'm responsible for IGV nationally, and we have also Monia, MCVP IG, and IGT. So we will start, as you can imagine, with IGV. The agenda for today is something about product for you to make sure that you understand it in the correct way. Then we will go through the history, like what are the things which shaped IGV to be the way it is now. And then we will talk about current state and also about the future, the direction I envision for IGV for Poland. And then I will also mention how is it actually to be some kind of leader of area of IGV, as being LCP is also related to that. So just to be sure, like Global Volunteer is a cross-cultural experience which enables youth to develop leadership and contribute to sustainable development goals here in Poland. We establish projects which last from 6 to 8 weeks, and they are of course not paid, as this is a Global Volunteer. So far, all of our projects are aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals, so all of our projects have the measure of impact related to the targets of SDGs. And who is our partner, with whom do we create these opportunities, is of course NGOs, schools, and kindergartens. For getting to know more about Global Volunteer, I strongly encourage you to visit my favorite link, ice.ec/allyouneed. There you will find all of the value proposition, customer flow, SOPs, also buyer personas and partner standards. So all the knowledge is there. Please check it. Okay, and what is the basic thing about IGV is timeline, and timeline in IGV is everything. And what is it based on? It's based on the timeline of our customers. And what is very important in IGV is to understand how to use this tool, because, for example, we can see the division for winter peak and summer peak, winter peak in top and summer peak in the bottom. So what do we see is the opens, which we have in August and September. And this is the moment when also OGV around the world are starting promoting opportunities for the country partners. So this is the moment we must be ready with our opens, with our opportunities to pass the information they can pass to the customers, so to EPs in their countries. And then we are moving to the consideration phase, which happens in October and November. Of course, we can also start in September when we have our opportunities already on the platform, but October and November is the peak of approvals. And this is also the moment we must focus on the preparation, as according to the new customer flow, which is a cyclic one, we also have this phase, and this is the phase I will be putting a lot of focus, as you will see later in my strategies. Then realizations, again, aligning to our customers, happens in December and January. And then we convert our finished experiences to the completed one. And same story is happening in summer peak, but sales must start in December, January, February. Then approvals are happening in March, April, preparation April and May, and realizations June, July, the peak. And then we of course convert. May is the moment when we can align with some of our partners. Mainly it's Asia Pacific realizations of this time. And this thing sets all of the actions in the time of the year. And we must remember about this, and everyone, so also LCPs must be aware of that. Okay, so if it comes to the history of IGV for Poland, numbers tells the things, like the product is dropping since 2 years constantly. Like we had 1,763 approvals in 16-17 term, then we dropped to 1,514, and we finished the term 18-19 with 1,319 approvals. But actually, to understand and give you a little bit more about the context of IGV, what was happening in the end of LC term, 1819, so it was around November, there were partner standards and exchange standards refreshed. Partner standards were introduced and exchange standards were refreshed. So this is something what we should remember about, because, for example, development spaces with opportunity provider were replaced with alignment spaces with opportunity providers. And what else happened? Because this year was a kind of breakthrough in IGV for Poland, we had a sales model change. What does it mean? First of all, we started selling projects, not weeks like before. So, for example, some of our partners were cooperating with us for a few weeks, for example, 2, and then EP was changing a partner. Now it's a 6 weeks project, 6 to 8 weeks, and it's a project, not an EP, okay? And then our stakeholders are now considered to be a partner, so we make a partnership to establish opportunities for young people. We started also tracking sales via Podio, and we have contracts signed before approvals. What happened now is also aligning the pricing. So for you to be aware, the schools are cooperating with us now for 900 zlotys, and NGOs are cooperating with us for free, but under free conditions. Accommodation is provided by NGO. Secondly, there is an invoice covered by a partner, or we have a global host contracted for this time. What is more, we are also trying to enhance our portfolio for global projects. The next thing is SOPs, so standard operation procedures, which now are kind of hot topic around the world, and this is something what we must implement to actually standardize all of our processes and make our customers' experience much better. So what is next, and how do I envision this product upcoming term? My strategies are divided into 3 main areas. First is about mastering processes in consideration and preparation phase. The main thing is SOP sensing, as it's different in each local chapter. Then we have SOP education, guidelines for implementation based on current state, and coaching based on tiers. IGV is about sales, because everything, even in timeline, starts with sales. So we must focus on education of our VPs, team leaders, team members, but also align this education to all of the positions. We have also SOPs for partners. It's not only SOPs for youth, but also SOPs for partners. We will be also approaching from national side umbrella organizations, which are actually gathering more of smaller organizations with whom we can cooperate. There will be CRM introduced, yes, and global projects will be implemented. And for the last strategy, the main field is IR, so international relations. Here we are planning some innovations in Let Me Polish You website. Also, we are thinking of introducing the IPS delivered online, and some other activities to actually help us boost the cooperation with our IR partners to get better qualified applicants and more of them. So yes, if you have any questions, remember that you can ask them later. And if it comes to LCP plus IGV, what I believe, LCP is always a person who is a big support for IGV. This is not easy area, and also LCP must be aware of basic things like I believe that check-in expa should be in a daily routine of each LCP to actually track the processes and make sure that all of our customers are being provided with the experience in the best way possible. So yes, I think that these are the most important things about IGV. We can smoothly move to
IGE and IGT. Hello people, it's Monia, as Brittany already introduced me. So in terms of IGT, what we will be talking about, of course, a little bit about the product, so we are sure that you all are aware what is it all about. We will talk a little bit of the history and how it looked in the past, because it shaped the way we look now, and it shaped the direction we want to take in the future. And as well, I will be talking a little bit for what to focus on when you are an LCP and you are considering running those products, or maybe they are already being run in your LCs. And of course, questions time will be there, and we will remind you that you can ask questions in the questions and answers. So let's go. Global Talent is the product that is providing professional experience for the EP, but this one you probably already know. What is important here that our main stakeholders, so the partners that Brittany was telling you about, are companies and schools, and it's important, companies, not startups. Companies and schools are the main partners with whom we are cooperating in terms of opening opportunities for interns who can come from other countries. The internships usually last from 3 to 12 months, so it's more long-term than IGV. Global Talent has this one thing that is super important, is that it is paid for the person that is taking part. So when we are communicating it to the external environment, we need to make sure that the partner is aware that they have to provide the contract and the salary for the person. Europe is smoothly written on which region we want to focus on in terms of Global Talent, mainly because Global Talent is connected with the fact that people who are coming for the experiences usually need visas if they are not from Europe, specifically European Union. So in terms of the long process time that is already there, we need to focus on the countries from which we can get those people to Poland smoothly and kind of easily, so we can make sure that the experiences are actually happening and we are able to actually change somebody's life, and that it's not super difficult for the companies to cooperate with us. In terms of timeline, it's not much different than other products, because timeline in ISEC works very similarly. That's why we are able to do exchanges between two countries. So the main focus for January, February, and March is sales and providing opens in terms of opportunities in the system. And the second sales peak is actually now, so it's a call to action, till October. Why? Because November is usually the biggest peak in terms of approvals in general whole world. But as you can see in the screen, we have the peak of approvals as well for spring, like in spring, to make sure that our summer peak will be amazing. So it's March and till May. The realizations peaks in IGT are very specific, especially because we are having this project called ISEC University that is short-term GT teaching, and it was created to be an off-peak project. That's why we have this one line from May to July. Why it's May? Because in May we usually have the realization, and the same is happening in October. But the main peaks in terms of realizations connected to Global Talent, like long-term and not ISEC University realizations, is January, February, and then of course June, July, because it's the summer peak. The autumn one is the answer for the fact that GT is a product that is dropping globally. So we realized, like regional office and AI and us followed up as NMC-VPs, is that September is a very good peak for us, especially in terms of the sub-product called teaching in Global Talent, because we are able to provide language teachers for schools that are starting their work in September. So then we can approve those people earlier, so then they can start their experience in September when the schools are actually starting their academic year. Then, of course, in terms of finished and completes, we try to have the peaks of when it's happening, but very often it is connected to, first of all, ISEC University realizations that are lasting 6 to 8 weeks. So then we are kind of able to see when the experience is finishing, and then when we can expect the completed experience. But at the same time, in terms of Global Talent, as it's a long-term product, then the finished and the completes are depending on the previous terms in terms of when the realization happened. So then it is kind of almost whole year. In terms of historical data of Global Talent, since 2 years, the product is dropping in Poland, in general, globally as well. So I wouldn't say it's nothing to be worried about, but it's something that is not concerning only us. So there's a bright side in this dark situation. But of course, like the matter of the fact is that it is concerned to be difficult and long product to be run. But in my opinion, it's not true. It just needs smart solutions. But we will talk about them a little bit later when I will introduce my ideas for the product. So as you can see, 16-17 term was a very successful year for Global Talent. Poland got the award on IC Colombia for the growth and for the performance that we did, because as you can see, it was 181 approvals. And since then, we were constantly dropping throughout the years. But now, of course, we will make sure that we will only grow. And then my second product, which is Global Entrepreneur, which has this difference that it is shorter. So it is kind of similar to GV in terms of the timing and that it's being unpaid. But our partners are startups. So this product is more for the people who not necessarily have experience or the degree already, but they want to develop. So it is as well for us to boost the startup environment in Poland, to make sure that we are supporting them in development in terms of getting international perspectives, or to build the cultural intelligence. And here as well, we will mainly focus on Europe. But the fact is that in Global Entrepreneur, we can focus more on different countries as well, because as it is more short-term than GT, we are able to provide people that come for the short-term visa type C. So then it's much, much easier. And then the timeline, as you can see, it's super similar in terms of GT and other products, because we focus on opens and selling it to the startups from January to March. And then for the winter peak, August, October. So then the approvals can follow it up in the timeline, as you can see. So March, May, and then October, November. Then realizations should happen as well. Like if we approve people in October, November, then the realization should happen January, February. And then the summer peak, June, July, as it's always happening. And based on that, later we have the finished and complete experiences. In terms of the results and Global Entrepreneur, for now, last year we didn't have much results to be shared. So the product itself is not well known in our entity, and it is a thing that is a big opportunity for us to actually grow and to discover what is the potential of the product in Poland. Right now we have one LC running it, and it is Warsaw SGH, which is super cool. So we have one LC on which we can focus on the product, so then we can give some good case practices and some know-how to another LCs. But what I wanted to tell you is actually the idea that I have for the product basing on the current state that you saw and the historical data. Why? Because the main idea for now, it's maybe you already noticed that the position is not called anymore IGET, which kind of could have given the idea of those two being one, which is not true. That's why now we are putting a lot of focus of actually communicating it as IGE and IGT, because those products, as you could see, are totally different, and they have totally different markets to which we are focusing on. So the first and the most important thing in terms of this time that came and for the future is that we are dividing the products and we are dividing the structures on local level. So that's why to run the products in the LC, we need to make sure that we have the capacity and we know that the market is actually needing it. So then we make sure that we have separate leaders for both of the products. And my strategies are mainly connected to the fact how are we treating our customers, because in GT it was not always that easy and not always super fast. That's why as well we have a strategy connected to faster processes to make sure that we are actually working on IR, and which was already said is international relations. So then we can ensure that we are aligned with the timeline and we know what is happening where, and that as well we are working strictly on the processes that are already there. They are structured, they are easy. It's a very simple checklist which allows us to actually make our operations easier and to not focus on some different weird things. And of course, what would be IGT without the opens? Of course, nothing. So that's why it is a big focus, not only in terms of the local sales implementations, in terms of how we are calling to actually set a meeting to make sure that we can follow up and actually have the open, but as well with the national support in terms of B2B strategy, which is business to business, and ensuring that our CRM is working very well, so we have all the data in one place, and that we as an entity will start introducing POP, which is partner of partners. So it's like EXPA, but like YOP, but for partners. So then it kind of makes it easier for us in terms of approaching the partners, because they can do the opportunity by themselves in the system, and we just need to follow up the contact. So it's very nice. But of course, as I'm having two products, I have to have a separate strategy for another one that, as you probably realized, is not my biggest focus in terms of what I need to focus on in terms of my term, but it is still there and it's super important. That's why we want to focus on it in terms of opening IG opportunities on the local level, but as well me supporting it from the national level in terms of umbrella organizations that can support us in terms of gathering knowledge and as well providing us opens without constant, cold calling or all the old ways that we know. But here is as well one more time mentioned that if you are considering opening both of those products, you need to make sure that you have separate structures for them. If you decide to open only one of them, then you can have one structure made for it. And then the structures should follow the sub-products that were chosen as a focus for the LCs, because of course, like GT has a lot of sub-products, GE as well, but as we don't want to sell the product in terms of, hello, this is GT, you can choose, but we need to have a clear focus in terms of whom we are approaching with what. We have the division for sub-products. For that, you can check as well the link that Brittany already mentioned, because it's the separate session that we can have about the sub-products. But then the focuses are very, very important. So then, in terms of being an LCP and thinking about the products in your LC, and as I already mentioned, it is strictly connected to being aware if we have a capacity of people to run the product itself, or products, if it's taken into consideration. What is important in IGE and IGT is when you already have the structure and you know it will be run in your LC, as Brittany said. Checking EXPA is a very important non-negotiable. It's super cool and it's not that difficult. But as well, what needs to be still being under very deep tracking is the sales and the opens. So we make sure that our actions of attracting the partners are actually bringing some results, and we are able to provide the experiences later. But what is also important, we are not working alone. So as an LCP, we should, as much as we can, support our LCVPs in terms of international relations, and to make sure that we are accountable to what we are promising and what we want to achieve all together. So as we already said, in the posts, you can find link to the Q&A. We will be super thrilled to answer all of your questions if you have them. If you don't, you can think about them, because if not now, then when? We are always open to help you. And just a reminder, you can check the link of ice.ec/allyouneed, which is ice.ek/all-you-need, to make sure that you find all the details about all the products that we mentioned to you before. It's all there in a very nice form, so I think it will be super easy for you. So with that, I want to thank you very much if you are here and you are listening to us talking. Good luck in the processes, and of course you can always approach us. Always yours, MC Zeal. Spark the fire.